Welcome back to episode 25. A throbbing headache accompanied Jungkook when he awake from his slumber. Even the dull blue lighting of morning hurt when he cracked his eyelids open with fingers gently rubbing his temple. Jungkook sat up immediately, glancing at the other side of the bed. It bothered him to think such a move become habit had become habit. Taehyung was still there, back turning towards the bonnet. By the steady rise and fall of the body under the red silk sheets, Jungkook figured he was still in dreamland. A quick glance at the clock told Jungkook it was almost 6:30 in the morning. How he hated mornings, especially this one. Another prick of pain pressed his head and Jungkook winced, pulling the sheets off of his form quickly and slowly. Jungkook slipped out of the bed and padded his feet across the carpet. Slipping out of the room, he quickly headed for the medicine cabinet and a cold glass of milk, washing his pills down with the refreshing liquid. Jungkook plopped himself down on the dining room chair. Usually he would step outside and grab his morning newspaper, but quite frankly, he wasn't even interested in what was going on in the world right now. He was more concerned with Caramel raised his daughter to the couch accusingly. The couch stared back with unmoving innocence. If only it was that easy to blame an inanimate object for last night's happenings. Dear God, he would finally got to feel Taehyung's lips beneath his own. His own lips tingled at the thought. And yet, even though it had happened just hours ago, it felt so far away. Even though the raven was lying in the next room, Jungkook himself felt so far away. Something had been there on that couch in the flickering light of the television, where breathed still and gaps of pleasure echoes. Something had been there. Taehyung kissed him, damn it. It wasn't even the other way around. The man who had slithered away twice, the man who deemed a kiss forbidden due to intimacy, was the same man who had jolted Jungkook awake with that very kiss. Jungkook was sure at that moment he would be thrilled because that meant something. It had to, even if the raven's feeling did not came to par with his own. There was still some more there, more than friendship, or so he would thought. Even though the medicine had begun taking effect and his headache gradually slipped away, Jungkook's kind still felt as if it would explode. It took a lot of courage to stay what he had last night. Jungkook knew very well the complications of what their relationship would entail under his circumstances, but he didn't care as long as Taehyung would be there. Taehyung apparently didn't share the sentiment. Jungkook was almost bitter, but if he said that he wished Taehyung had not kissed him and screamed with his mind last night, he would be lying to himself. The moment with Taehyung locked in his arms and lips sealed to his own was the moment just couldn't bring himself to regret, but nagging feeling of being cheated. The feeling Taehyung kissed him was what made him unable to let go. If Jungkook had started it, and was turned down, he would be able to accept the fact that Taehyung held no romantic feelings for him, or was Taehyung really just giving him what he wanted as a parting gift? But he should have done that when the bonnet was awakened. Jungkook slumped dejectedly at the chair. A low buzzing hit his ear. In the silence, furrowing his brow, Jungkook looked around, eyes finally landing on the jacket hanging on the coat walk. Oh, myself, Jungkook thought, standing and walking towards said object. The buzzing hairs already. At the time, he dipped his hand in the jacket pocket. A quick flick through his missed call pulled a tight frown across his lips. His father had called twice since last night. He just seeing his name on the screen made Jungkook blood boil. He had disliked his father for years for many different reasons, but none of those reasons were good enough to cut ties. None of those reasons were good enough to abandon the sense of security he had been a Jeon. But the phone once again vibrating, flashing a familiar number on the screen. Leaning against the wall, Jungkook flipped the phone open and put it on his ear. What? Jungkook asked bluntly. If his father noticed the snippy attitude, he didn't call him out on it. I have been trying to call you. Where have you been? Mr. Jian asked in almost mirror of Jungkook's own tone. With Taehyung, Jungkook said pointedly, pausing to let that sink in his father's brain before continuing. Why are you calling me? I was calling you to inform you that you are meeting with a client from China today. We will be finalizing a new contact, Mr. Jian explained. China. Jungkook asked confused. Yes, and I am stationing you in China with them for a while to oversee all documentation that will be sent back and forth while this merger is being made. It's called. Mr. Jian continued to bubble, but Jungkook wasn't hearing a word. He stared blankly at the carpet with an unbelieving look. The bonnet shook his head and tasked a very grin on his features. You're trying to get me away from Taehyung, Jungkook accused, almost laughing. You would really go this far to get me away from someone completely innocent? I doubt he is completely innocent, Mr. Jian joked, making Jungkook sneeze. Make sure you are screwing them over properly right. Jungkook cut it, slowly making his way back to dining room table. By the way, how is that cut on your face? There was an angry silence. All smile, sarcastic or not, fell from Jungkook's face as he gripped the dining room chair. If you ever touch him again, you are hardly in a position. I will make you regret it, Dad. Jungkook started. You are hardly in position to threaten me, boy. Mr. Jian growled unpleasantly. You need to get out of that little fantasy world you are living in with face reality. You are going to let a good freak ruin you. Jungkook sat down in a huff. He is more than that, Jungkook hissed, though his teeth glanced up at the door to the bathroom. Ruin me. You mean possibly ruin you? That's all you care about. But you know what? You don't have to worry about me possibly ruining you ever again. I quit. There was an indefinable stutter as on the other end and the phone. Excuse me? Mr. Jian asked in disbelief. I'm not going to repeat myself, Jungkook said. What the heck are you saying? Following in your brother's footsteps, honoring your own family. I thought you were more than that. What complete What's completely nonsense is the fact I managed to stay around for this long. Jungkook said, running a hand over his face. I thought you were more than these two. Father, tell mother I will keep in contact, but until you grow a heart and maybe a conscience while you are at it, I want nothing to do with you. Find a new successor. Jungkook didn't wait for a reply. Snapping his phone shut, he leaned forward, elbow on his knees, and the phone dangling from his hand. Jittery butterflies swirling gut, making him feel sick. Freak, he really did that. The phone vibrated again. Jungkook stared at it until it stopped and then set the cell on silent, pushing it away from him on the dining table room. With his head hung low, he sat perfectly still, willing his dull wave in his stomach to kiss worth it. The idle wave did not give him into his wishes, however, and crunched even harder. Jungkook had the frantic urge to call Bugam and make sure everything was still up to grabs. The guy wouldn't change his mind on that deal quickly, right? Jungkook didn't even get to finish reading the details yesterday before Taehyung came rushing down. How much money a year was even a decent living? Born with silver spoon in his mouth, Jungkook had never had to worry about such things. Who would take over the company now? Namjoon. He wanted to call Namjoon too. His brother had the right to know that he had cut ties with his father. Looking at the clock again, Jungkook knew it was too early to do either, and Worley sighed. With the tired frown, he set his shoulders. He needed to stop freaking out. A decision had been made, and he would follow through it. Should he tell Taehyung? He glanced over at the bedroom door. No, there was no need to add something to the Burnet's shoulders. However, there was a need to have something for his belly. When they woke up with that thought, Jungkook made his way over to the phone and ordered breakfast. There was enough time. The Burnett had penalty of savings to get his life in order before worrying about what he was going to do with it. But the one thing that kept bugging him was the fact that no matter what he ended up doing, Jungkook wanted Taehyung there. It would be a fruitless effort if Taehyung didn't feel the same. The question now was, should Jungkook keep the mobilizations of peace they had, or tip the scale and hope for the best? Scale and hope of best. The fact he would already tipped the scale and got laughed at was enough to make a dark cloud appear over his head. When breakfast arrived, Jungkook tried to calm himself with a sweet roll, but even the excuses sugar didn't have the power to settle him. But he knew Taehyung was keen to knowing when something was bothering someone. So when he had to raise an eyebrow. With him was dressed all black. You look like you are going to a funeral. Jungkook remarked. Jungkook softly snorted and made his way to the table, taking a seat. His movements were uncomfortable it might be. My own Taehyung joked, um, grabbing a bagel. Jungkook briefly snickered at the healthy choice in force compared to his own. It wouldn't be that bad, Jungkook assured. Being a sip of his coffee, Taehyung shot him a skeptical look. You shouldn't promise things when you aren't sure yourself. Fine, I don't think it would be that bad. You have no basics of saying that, considering you have never met your parents. They said, I'm just trying to ease you. You are not. Well, you are not. Taehyung interrupted, tearing pieces off his bagel and shoving them into his mouth. You go abandon your family and then go crawling back. Jungkook opened his mouth ready to say what he just said on the phone, but eventually snapped it shut. Give me the number of your family's house, Jungkook said instead, reaching across the table and for the cell he pushed away from him earlier. He quickly erased a 9 missed call. What? Taehyung asked, slowing. What the heck for trying to announce my entrance? No, you told me you would change. We would exchange numbers after you left, didn't you? Jungkook asked expectantly, his phone already on the head contract screen. Oh, Taehyung mumbled, not exactly looking up for the exchange. Jungkook felt his heart drop, but Taehyung voiced the number anyway. Thanks, Jungkook said, taking another gulp of coffee. There was a strange silence that followed the thick tickle of the clock, much too loud. Jungkook refused to be the one to ask if Taehyung was ready. When Taehyung swelled his last hold, he looked at the clock. We should go if you plan on getting to work on time. Wait, you aren't even dressed for work, Taehyung said suddenly. Not going today, Jungkook answered, tipping his cup and froing when he realized his coffee was gone. Taehyung didn't like the answer at all. If the previous night had anything to do with the decision, guilt peeled on his shoulders. I will go get my stuff, Taehyung said, affidently rising from his chair. Jungkook responded. Jungkook didn't respond, running his finger over the grab of the coffee cup handle. He wondered if Jungkook had picked up on the fact the Raven had not asked for his cell number in return. Then again, Taehyung had the number of the hotel room memorized. After giving it to Minham, he grabbed the suitcase and bag, giving to the room once over with the image of a short-lived home engraved in his mind. They turned and walked out. It was a slight trip from the room to elevator and from the elevator to lobby. The journey to the car would have undoubtedly followed suit if Taehyung hadn't taken a detour to say a goodbye to Han, the manager. Stated that he would look forward to seeing Taehyung at the park at the hotel again, for which only got a fake smile and cringed from his audience. Man in uniform took Taehyung's luggage and settled it in the trunk of limo. As the two crawled their way inside the interior of the car, it was so awkward Jungkook could hardly stand it. A cloud of doom was rearing in its ugly head above the find space. Something wasn't right here. He tried to reason with himself the same thoughts from early, that it wasn't like he was this was the end of the world. It wasn't like they would never be able to see each other again. On one phone call was all it would take, and they would meet up somewhere or even simply drive downtown. But there was something underneath the physical act of letting them go. He felt like something would be lost, and it was an outrageous feeling because it was never there. To be continued. What do you think? Will Jungkook stop Taehyung from going away, or will he confess to Taehyung about his feelings? We will get to know in the next episode. Hope you will like it, and thanks a lot for loving this story, and comment down your feelings about this. Bye bye.